YouTube, we're here today with the Inductrix quad. We're going to be using a good battery this time. Told you guys I'd get a better video up here and get a close-up. We had basically the low voltage warning comes on and this thing drops. And we had a break, and this plastic is so smooth and it doesn't work well with CA. It doesn't stick to it. So Horizon sent me this part for free. Thank you, Horizon. I think it's like about $8. So they shipped it. I got it in like 2 days. That's why you buy Horizon hobby products, because they will take care of you when something goes wrong and they, say, yeah, this is probably our fault. So when you're flying like this high and it falls onto a hardwood floor or something like that, it's kind of like, well, we don't have any warning. So anyway, they said just set a timer. I don't think that's going to really help because there's no timer on a DX4. If I was using my DX18, then it'd be fine. So anyway, thank you, Horizon. We'll be putting that on. And the way I repaired mine is I wrapped a piece of product that separates two CDs so they don't get scratched. And then I used CA, and that stuck to itself. It was really tricky to do, actually, and it's broken about 3 times since. But it's just, the only problem is it kind of changed the alignment a little bit of that, and so you just have to trim it. So without further ado, wanted to show you a full flight time, and enjoy. Okay, come up here and get a shot of this. If you haven't figured out, the flat spot goes up along the flat part of your battery. If you're trying to align it and you run to these 2 ribs, then you're going backward. It's pretty simple. If you have it right, it'll plug in real easy. If you have it wrong, it's going to fight you. Wait for the blue light, give it some throttle, and then you can make sure everything's working. So we're just going to do a quick flight here. I'm no expert quad pilot, but we'll just do some flight around the room. We'll just show some of the fun stuff you can do with it. You can hear mine's rattling a little bit. You're going to get some rattling with this thing, especially if you have something broken. And in fact, we're going to probably look at that real quick. If you have a rattle, it can mean that you broke one of those armatures that goes to the outside. But it doesn't feel like we did. So you can just kind of wiggle the motor very gently and you'll know. And by the way, the white lights go forward, red lights go back. Okay, to switch it into, basically, if you want to go to agility mode, then that shuts off safe. But it's a lot easier to fly in safe. It auto levels, and it's a big improvement. So we're going to fly downstairs now. If you want to kind of just film from above, and then we might have you pause it when I get down there.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
This is something you couldn't do with an inferior quad because stairways are notoriously difficult to go down because there's a temperature change and a lot of airflow. So as you can see, not probably the hardest thing you've ever seen. It doesn't look like it's a very big deal when you're watching somebody else do it. But the fun thing is when you get this thing is you can do tricks, you can go under stuff. Oh, you can crash just like that. But with other quads we've had in the past, we've had all sorts of different grief with props getting broke and having to have lots of different props on hand. Short flight times. This isn't a super fast quad, and I'm not really pushing it here, but it's super easy to control. It's a really good learning aid if you're trying to learn to fly planes. The only difference is you got to remember to chop your throttle before you crash. But something that's really fun to do is if you have a ceiling fan, try to land on the ceiling fan blades. It's tricky because the ceiling fan will actually blow out of the way. So, and then the other thing we found that's really fun with Andrew and I, my son, is that we'll go just basically through stuff like that, and it's really fun to do. And we set up a bunch of boxes upside down like this, And what we'll do is we'll make landing patterns we have to try to do. And it's tricky because all the airflow, oh no, lost it. All the airflow on these quads gets really turbulent when you're trying to land on something small like that. But it can be done, and it's really fun. It's good practice for the kids as they're learning how to do it. And but as you can see, this thing is pretty rock solid. And I want to show you one other thing here. If you put it down a slide, if you give it enough power quick enough, it'll recover. So it's a really fun quad. And did we pause it during the video? Yeah, we just paused at the beginning.
Yep.
So basically, we'll fly back upstairs real quick. If you want to go ahead and get up in front of me there.
Okay.
The flight times, we'll go ahead and let you know what our flight time was.
You could mention that Andrew's 7, and he's flying it.
Our son is 7, and he's flying it, and he does a really good job. He's had a couple of crashes, but not too much destruction. We started with the Proto-X, and the Proto-X was really fun, and actually a good alternative to this if you've got a little bit less money, because this thing was about $50, and you have to provide your own radio at that price, so it's $70, I think, ready to fly. So if you have about half that budget, you can still get an old Proto-X. But really, bind and fly is the way I want, because then I can use the radio I like. So for the rest of the video, we'll probably just do some flying around and show you some of the capabilities. My favorite part of flying this thing is we've got this diffuser here, and I love blowing the steam around. It's really cool. And I will take this thing around and fly we have a SEMA coaxial helicopter with, it's from, what, 2 years ago or 1 year ago?
2, I think.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. And that's the power. So what's your time at?
7:34.
7:34. So if you take off the first minute of our video.
Minute and a half, yep.
It'd be a minute and a half. So that's a 6-minute flight time. So Horizon is not totally unreasonable about that, but this low voltage, that is what we're talking about, guys. It will just, wherever it is, it's going down. And hopefully you're not 10 feet in the air. That's one thing the Proto-X had on this, is that it would go off for about 15 seconds. So now you have to unplug the battery and figure out your charging. And here for about the last 30 seconds, I'm going to talk about chargers. These little things are notoriously difficult to keep from being overcharged. And so I want to show you what I do, and you can do whatever you guys want. This is one method. You can basically take a higher powered USB charger and then do a parallel charging cord where you actually buy the little female ends. Be careful. I get these from Hobby King, and I had them pull out before on me, so you gotta glue them up or whatever it is you're gonna do to keep them from peeling out. You plug them in and you do a handful of batteries at a time, and it charges them at a slower rate. It does use up your chargers a little quicker, but every time you get one of these, you usually get one of these chargers. I think they sell for like $9 or $10. Find the oldest USB adapter you can find. This thing here charges, the output on this thing is more than it's supposed to be still. It's 5 volts at 1 amp. Whereas this one is Asus. It was like for what's the tablet?
Tablet, yeah.
It was for a tablet. And it's a 5.2 volts at 1.35 amps. So it's still quite a little bit more power than what they call for 5 volts at 350 milliamps. And good luck finding 350 milliamps 5 volt output, especially on a USB connector. You may get it on your computer, but the other thing you can do is you can buy one of these. I got this this is Thunder Power TP103CQ. It's a 1S quad charger, and it's got a little light. They changed from red to green, but then you have to provide your own AC adapter, and then you need the alternative. This thing wants 11 through 15 volts DC, And you have to, of course, have the right polarity on the drum. So you can look at this little thing here. Meaning the drum, the negative is here, and then the positive is on the inside. But I'm using an E-Flight adapter that has a 12 volt at 1.5 amp output. So if you use one of those, it's an easy way of charging. One thing that's kind of nice about this is it's got some protection so that you don't overcharge, and that's handy. The other thing is it's keyed so that you can only put the batteries in a certain direction. But I'll be honest with you, unless I have 4 to charge, I'm not doing it this way. And if I have 4 to charge, my tendency is to charge them on this because it does a better job. And it'll charge, I mean, it'll take like a couple hours to charge 5 batteries, which is good. That's actually a good thing. You want it to charge slow. This thing will have that battery charged, and there is an LED that goes off when it's charged. So you just stick that in the wall, and then you come back 15 minutes later, it'll be off. This battery will be charged. They work fine when they're new like that. Just depending on if you go to the low voltage warning. Horizon will tell you all day, don't go to the low voltage warning, which is where the thing falls out of the sky, but good luck getting an exact time. That one was a 6-minute flight time, but if you were flying more aggressive, you may only get a 4-minute flight time the next time. You may get a 7-minute flight time the next time. It just depends on what you're doing with it, how much you're screwing around. You know, if I was using my DX18, I have an auto throttle where I can start a timer and have a tone and vibration, and then I can have it beep every 1 minute. But if you're not using a $500 or $1,000 radio, you know, you're probably going to be using one of these. It comes with another ready-to-fly aircraft, or you can get one of these. I don't even think you can get this. You can get the DX8 now. DXE. I forget what they call it. But either way, this is a really good one. It's a 5-channel, 5.5 channel technically, because you got the trainer button. But really like it. It's an easy way of doing it. So if you find yourself wanting an Inductrix, definitely good little quad for the money. You're not going to find a hobby grade quad for that kind of money just about anywhere. The next best thing I've had is a Proto X, and I blew through motors so quick on those things. I probably put 10 motors in those things. So I just kept buying a new one and just stealing parts off of it. As soon as I'd have a failure, I would have a second one as a backup. These ones actually have quick disconnects. It's the same as your battery. So when you have a motor failure, there's just a little rubber band here, and then the motor slides out the top, and it's like a 2-minute thing. But just keep in mind, they are not all the same. Some of them rotate, some of them counter-rotate. And so you need to make sure you get the right motors when you order these. And I believe you can get a whole pack of 4 of them from Horizon's website. And again, you can do that quick and easy. I had to solder them on the Proto X. So that was hard. And it's not like big soldering. It's very, very small, difficult stuff. Oh, and then this also comes with a blue cover. And they, of course, have the Inductrix that has FPV. So if you're into that sort of thing. And this thing will handle a little bit of a payload. I haven't gone up to my 300 milliamp batteries yet, just because I haven't had a reason to. The 6 or 5 minute flight times they're just fine for me. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully that's not too much information for you, but really liked it. I'm going to keep liking it. And the cool thing about a Horizon hobby product is that you can like it for a few years instead of liking it for like 3 weeks and then it's garbage. So spend an extra $15-20 and get a good one.